Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the first ever episode of the FPL PubCast. You're here for a moment in history, I'm sure, we'll be talking about for years to come in the FPL community. So this is our new PubCast. I've got to keep saying PubCast, not podcast, lads, where we want to do something a bit different. And welcome to the Sorry, my volume's just cutting. We want to do something a bit different. We don't just want to present you with stats and tables of XG charts like most of the big boys do. We want it to just be the vibe of four lads sitting around in the pub chatting FPL. We'll show you our teams, and we just want it to be a general sort of chat. So that's the sort of vibe we're going for. So I have four. My co-host. I'll introduce you guys in case people don't know you. So first of all, my co-host, who will be coming on with me every week on here and on the FPL Lock-In, which is a reaction stream we're doing on a Saturday, is a legend of the FPL community, Nick Triggerlips, who back in the day had 4 top 1K finishes in a row, including a highest place of 35, I believe. Trig, is that right?
Yeah, it is. That's right. A long time ago, though.
Yeah, how you doing, mate? All right?
Won't talk about those anymore.
So, my second, we've got 4 regular guests who are going to come on, as well as the occasional special one-off guest. And one of my regular guests is the wonderful FPL D unit, who I believe has a all-time best rank of last season of was it 4,000 or 5,000 D unit? How you doing, mate?
Depends on how you refer to it. I like to refer to it as 4K because I finished at 4,881 and everyone else seems to round upwards. Gary, though, seems to think that you round downwards. But look, either way, top 5K, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, if it was rounded down, I think my one's 4K because I think I was like 3,100. So I've probably lied on the thumbnail about the best rate. And then another one of our regular guests is the wonderful Roberto of the Form Is Temporary podcast. So I believe your best rank, mate, was 18K. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. Absolutely spot on. And it's a pleasure to be on, lads. I got to say, I really enjoyed last Saturday. It absolutely flew by, that episode. And I'll be honest, I've just been waiting for this day just to get the same vibes back. So great to be back on and with 2 brilliant guests alongside you, Gary, D Unit and Nick. It's great to get you guys on as well.
Yeah, so just say hello to some people in the chat before we start. FPL Nightmare, who is another one of our guests, unfortunately couldn't make it on tonight, but will hopefully be on next week. And he sent us his draft, lads, so we're going to evaluate that later on when we've had a look for our own. Hi to FPL Hippie, Gusario, FPL from the lane, Sam. Hi, mate. Thanks for shouting us out on Blue Sky the other day. Hi to Dave Hamill. And obviously Nightmare has co-opted a lot of people over, directed people in our direction. So thanks for that for those people who are coming in directly from Nightmare's excellent stream. Hi Ricky, hi Getty, and hi to one of our long-term watchers, Christian FPL Zykel. Okay, so another thing which we wanted to do. So basically, we were discussing what we were going to do with any money we make off this podcast. Not that we're expecting to make loads of money, and we all basically decided that any money that we make from the podcast is going to be given to charity. So 2 charities in particular, Mind in the UK, who obviously do a lot of work around mental health and promoting mental health, and Street Child United, who do a lot of work across the globe with children who are homeless. So any money we raise through ad revenue, super chats, anything like that will be given to charity. However, I would say YouTube take 30% of anything you donate to us. So it would be much better. We love it if you do super chat, but it would be much better for the charities concerned if you want to donate to them to go to their website. And the links to both of these charities' websites are given in the description below. And I think I'll wait until Gianni's on to talk about Street Child United, and probably should have prepared something on mine. But we talked about them a few weeks ago, didn't we, lads, in the stream where we introduced the podcast. Okay. So we've also set up a PubCast mini league, which we would love it if you would join. Us lads are already in there. So the league code is S3DHWZ. There's also a link in the description where if you click on it, it will basically take you to the FPL site and sign you up automatically. Okay. All right, so let's get on to why we're here, lads. So this is really our first draft. So that's what we should have called the streams. We've called it Draft Wars because what I want you guys in the chat to do, or the comments if you're watching back, is to give a rating to each of these drafts. Yeah, and I'll come to the chat and have a look at the different ratings as we go through, and hopefully, of course, I will win. So we're going to go through our 4 drafts, and as I said, Andrew has sent us his draft, which we will have a look at the end. Okay, cool. So we're going to go to my draft first, and obviously we haven't seen each other's drafts prior to starting. So I'm going to be honest with you, lads. I had half an hour to create a team today. I was out last night with Az and Yelena the night before I was interviewing Fergie, so I had half an hour, and I sat there and I thought, I have no idea what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do for the sake of the podcast is put together basically a template, right? So these are, obviously I couldn't select all of the highest percentage owned players in each position because it would cost too much money, but I tried to select the highest ish owned players. So I decided to go for a 3-5-2. I will have to remember we have to read out the teams for the audio listeners, don't we? So in goal, I have Kelleher. Then I've got a back three of Wan-Bissaka, Konza, and Frimpong. Is that what I say his name? Midfield, so I've got a 3-5-2 I'm rocking here. Midfield of Rodgers, Kudos, Palmer, Salah, and Wirtz. And then up front, I've got João Pedro and Bowen. And then on the bench, I've got very, very cheap because I've looked at you guys' drafts. I don't think I would be thinking about bench boosting in week 1. I think I'm much more likely to do that later on in the season when either after the bench boost or after we get our 5 free transfers to AFCON. So I've got Darlow, who the unit says he reckons if Leeds don't sign a goalkeeper, will be in goal for them next season. Munoz, who's just on the bench because they're away to Chelsea. Some guy from Sunderland, I think he's from Sunderland, I don't even know how to say his name. Does anyone know how to say that name? Reinildo?
Yes.
He sounds like a Brazilian, he sounds like he should be playing for Brazil's front 3 or 4 in the 90s or something. And then Obi, who I understand, again from D-Unit, who's a Man United fan, has absolutely no chance of starting. He is just my copy and paste 4.5 million midfielder. So I thought, guys, we could just use this really as a opportunity to discuss what we think of the template, even though it's very early so far. So, D-Unit, I'll come to you first, mate. What do you reckon of this sort of template?
It's interesting because when we get to my draft, we will see that I don't really agree with the bargain basement forwards and midfielders. So there's no bargain basement midfielders in this draft, but obviously Obi Martin is going to do, being a United fan, he's going to do absolutely nothing. I'll be surprised if he gets more than 1 point in any game. He might even go on loan. He could be a Barco that goes on loan prior to the deadline, if I'm being honest. He also, I think that Kudos, as much as I don't understand why people are in love with this man. Like, I had people in the WhatsApp group chat and that literally said he was rubbish last year that are West Ham fans, and people think that magically he's gone. I saw an interesting comment on Twitter today from a guy called, I think, FPL Matt, and he said, oh, how many points does Kudos get when he goes to Spurs? I was like, Spurs finished 17th, mate. They finished behind West Ham, and I would argue there's no better player at Spurs than Jared Bowen is at West Ham. So how do people think that all of a sudden he's going to magically score more points?
And his numbers aren't.
Is overrated, let's be honest. We'll get to that later on, I'm sure. But he did nothing last season. He was injured more than he did anything. And just because Let's Talk FPL Andy is in love with Dominic Solanke doesn't mean that he's a good pick.
I was going to say, because I watched one of Andy's, Big Andy's videos earlier, and his underlying numbers aren't even that good. It's not even just that he doesn't finish or assist that much. He doesn't really get the opportunities to, according to those stats. Trig, what are your thoughts on the this sort of template team, mate?
Kudos. Yeah, it's a tricky one, Kudos. But they did finish above another team, I think, didn't they? One place above another team.
Yeah.
Did they finish above United unit?
The Spurs did.
Here we go. Here we
Right,
go.
so,
the chat is saying, what about Van Dijk? I'll also shoot down the Van Dijk thing. Why people want to spend up $6 million on a centre back is beyond me. And has anyone actually looked at the Liverpool fixtures, the first three?
He's not in
Trig,
this,
sorry. Yeah. But yeah,
put him on mute, Gary, when he's not speaking. Right, so
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah, Conser. I had Conser. I don't know if I've got Conser in this draft or not, but I'm going off him because he doesn't look like his defensive stats are very good. Like he's not going to get many extra points.
What do you think of Steve-O shout? Steve-O seems to think Maatsen will be brilliant, doesn't he? The fullback.
It's too early, I think. It's not straight away, is it?
No.
We don't know. I mean, it could be Digne. But this draft, I think Bowen. I don't like Bowen at all because his price hasn't dropped, yet he's going to get less points for goals, not going to get any clean sheet points. They've wasted him. I wouldn't pay $8 million for him, I think.
What if he was in midfield? Would you pay $8 million for him then?
Yeah, I would. I would have probably had him in my team if he was in midfield, but I'm not going to pick him as a striker.
Yeah.
And the changes in the bonus system means even if he does score now at 6 points, whereas previously he'd have been getting like 10 or 11 points probably. So it's a big difference. Big difference.
Yeah.
And apart from that, though, it's very Rodgers I'm not that keen on. I think Chelsea are after him actually, but I'm not keen on Rodgers at the current price.
Definitely would be if you go to Chelsea, you wouldn't know if he's going to play or not, would you?
Munoz is an interesting one. Munoz is quite high up on the defensive stats as well, isn't he?
Do you reckon he's going to go to Leeds? It'd be very weird.
Who?
Munoz. I've heard some people say he was going to go to Leeds, or maybe that.
No chance.
I doubt it.
Maybe that was just me. Roberto,
very unlikely.
Roberto, what are your thoughts on the sort of template-ish team here?
It's funny because for the last sort of 3 or 4 days, however long it's been since the game launched, obviously on Monday, I had that exact midfield for a lot of the time, and I like Pedro. I think Pedro is a very good asset to pick. I like Wan-Bissaka as well, but now recently I've started to look at every team I'm seeing on Twitter. It's just like Rodgers, Kudus, Palmer, Salah, Wirtz. I'm just getting bored of it. So just today, I just tried to shake it up because I do think I get what people are saying about Rodgers, but Villa's fixtures, I mean, I've had Rodgers in for a lot of the time, and I've only just taken him out today because I feel like some Villa attacker will probably sneak into my team. At the moment, on my latest draft, there's not any, but it's tricky because like Kudus, I think he's a great player. I think people are only overlooking him because of where he was at West Ham and how much West Ham was struggling, but yet he was still one of their better players. And I think in a Spurs team under Frank, things can change. The thing that's interesting is Wirtz. Wirtz, for me, I've seen a lot of people either go really hot on Wirtz and say they're going to have him definitely with that price that he came in for.
I will.
But the thing is, a lot of people are going to have Wirtz, but then they're not going to have Marmoush. Now, I get why, because of City, but 8.5 is also a good price for Marmoush. So, and when Wirtz isn't proven in the Prem, it does feel a bit more of a risk. But I've only just recently taken Wirtz out. But I don't hate the pick. It's just I think Bowen as well. I agree with Nick. I don't think Bowen's worth it. West Ham, fixtures are pretty bad anyway. So it's the sort of thing where the rotation with Wan-Bissaka makes it a bit more sense if you've got other 4.5 defenders. Whereas Bowen, if you're having to play him, and as Nick said, the routes to bonus points is just not much is there. And I think there are other 7.5 forwards that are a little bit better than him.
Nightmare's correcting me. It's Muniz Fulham to Leeds. That's what I must have misheard. That's what I must have misheard. I mean, The other thing I thought would be worth mentioning here is, and I don't want to steal your limelight, D-Unit, because I know you want to get onto this later on a bit, but Salah and Palmer, they seem to be the two template premiums. Yeah, but it's like we've all had collective amnesia from the end of last season. Like, they were both pretty terrible, weren't they? From like, at least like, I mean, Palmer was from Christmas, and Salah certainly was over the last 10, 15 game weeks. Are you surprised that they're so highly owned? Because I think they're both, I can't remember. They were definitely both the two highest owned midfielders.
I think Palmer's a good price. I think just judging from the last few games of the Club World Cup, and Trig will probably back me up on this, he was pretty unplayable against PSG. He was the Cole Palmer from the first half of last season. He was the Cole Palmer that scored 4 goals in a game in that game. So I'm not surprised about him. The Salah one, I think he's massively overpriced. I think that about 50% of people will start with him, and then about 30% will sell him within the first 3 weeks, when he's obviously got Newcastle and Arsenal after the first game week. Why would you go anywhere near him for the first 3 weeks?
Roberto, you shake your head there.
I mean, I'm amazed because Salah's already proven last season. He done it before last season. He can score against anyone. And I actually think 14.5 is underpriced. I'd have had him at 15, because if there's any player that deserves to be what Haaland was last season, like how Haaland was 15 last season, I don't know. But Salah's earned 15. And I know that generally they tend to price forwards more expensive than midfielders, but I think there should have been at least a 1 million difference between Salah and Haaland based on how poor and irrelevant Haaland was for most of last season. Yes, next season it might be better, but until we know that for sure, and until City click again, I just think Haaland is so much of a worse asset that 14 mil was a little bit too pricey for me, in my opinion.
Two other things I want to pick up before we move on from this template draft is, why do you think Frimpong is so highly owned when Bradley is there? And also Wan-Bissaka. Am I missing something here with Wan-Bissaka? One of the least attacking defenders in the Premier League.
He's not. He's good.
No, he changed last year, Gary.
He improved. All right, fair enough. But still, he plays for West Ham. Is it just because he's away to Sunderland?
West Ham have an amazing fixture first 6 weeks.
He's good, and his defensive stats are pretty good as well. I mean, he's not going to get 2 points every game, but like one game every 5, he's going to pick up a couple of extra points. And he did. He was really good at the end of last season.
You loved him. You had him, didn't you? Roberto,
I didn't love him because he was always on my bench, but he was getting a lot of points.
Yeah, he's a nice option to have. He's a nice option to have. Like the 4.5s, I do think, if you're looking at the 4.5s, there are a few good ones, Wan-Bissaka being one of them. I mean, the fixtures I don't love for West Ham, but yeah, the Sunderland fixture obviously helps Gary, but I think he's a nice rotation option, because if you don't want to play him in 2 and 3, you can just play him in the first week and have, Munoz, whoever you got on your bench to come in for him.
Yeah, I think with Frimpong, I prefer to go for. I know you said, D-Unit, you don't like Van Dijk, but I prefer to have that nailed-on player. Of course, we got the extra defensive points now, which I'm imagining Van Dijk's going to score a fair few of those. So, I would, and they're the same price, aren't they? I think they're both 6 million.
They're all 6 mil. Yeah, they're all 6.
Yeah.
I don't understand why anyone wants a Liverpool defender to begin with. Bournemouth haven't lost any attackers. They then play Newcastle. They then play Arsenal. If you want a Liverpool defender, surely it's game week 4 and onwards. Why would you start with any of them?
Yeah. Fair enough. So
it's a fair point. Isn't it?
Let us know what you rate this draft in the chat. I'm going to keep a sort of like overall roundabout number of what people ratings and who wins at the end. Last one, Pedro, I think, may have been the most highly owned player in the game. He was certainly up there. Are we all on board with that? I mean, none of you have raised an eyelid at him being in here, so I guess you're all on board with that. Trig, I'll come to you first for that one, man. You're not that keen?
Yeah, I'm not that. I mean, I think he might be in my draft at the moment, but I don't think he's going to stay there, to be honest with you, because Chelsea are going to be getting goals from everywhere. And everyone's influenced by the Club World Cup. I mean, he never normally plays like that, does he? He scored a couple of worldy goals, and he was up against his childhood team. Yeah, up against his childhood team on a debut. He had a lot more motivation. He was. He's not going to play like that every week. But I mean, he's not bad, is he?
I mean, again, I will caveat this with I see it through hornet tinted glasses, but João Pedro he's just so special. He's just, even if he doesn't start games, guys.
Did he start out with Watford?
Yeah, we made him into the player he is.
Yeah,
before he went to Brighton. But the thing is with him, even if he doesn't start games, so there were times when we'd say, oh, don't own this Man City asset because they're not always going to start every game, but they'd still be worth owning because even off the bench, they'd get attacking returns. I think that would be the same thing for Pedro. And the fact that he's been priced higher, as Andrew says, generational talent, I think official FPL know that he is just a better asset out of him and Delap. I don't think it will be nailed on. He'll get starts every week, but I'm not too fussed about that because I just think he can produce enough returns to warrant maybe the minutes being slightly less than other players. But even if he's not on penalties, which I wouldn't be surprised if Palmer gave a few of them to him because he's just got such a good record, João, from 6 yards. So I don't know, it's tricky, but I like to think that he's definitely going to be in my team. We'll have to see if there's any other forwards that come into the mix, but for me, I think he's definitely.
Dean?
This is the interesting one. So when we look at my draft, I've actually got Dominic Solanke and João Pedro, probably the two that are going to make way when Gyökeres gets added to the game because I think that he is going to be a must-own compared to those two. But I would say that João Pedro at the Club World Cup was amazing in the 2 games he played. He looked really good. However, in the game where he scored 2 goals, he was subbed on 57 minutes. And I think that that's probably a precursor of what's highly likely to happen. We saw this happen with Jackson last season as well. And that was when there was no competition. So I think he's going to be a tough own in terms of he'll be really good and then he'll be subbed for 1 point on 57 minutes every other week. And you'll be like, why have I got him?
Okay, cool. So just having a look at the rankings here. Zeichel's giving it a 7. Harry Dawson's giving it a 6. In 1974, 6, maybe 6.5. Geddes a 5. Andrew Nealis 6.5. I reckon we'll summarise this one as a 6.5, right? So I'm going to write that down. Template, or my draft, but I'm just going to call it template, equals 6.5. I'm surprised people haven't rated this highly because you'd imagine a lot of these players are in people's teams. Do you know what I mean?
But they're probably also in a lot of auto teams.
Yeah.
Auto
picks and casuals as well, because I think Bowen would have been one of the highest point scorers, wouldn't he? So people would have automatically stuck him in there. Same with Rodgers and.
All right, so let's move on to one of our first proper draft. So I'll ask you, all of you, to please, let each other read out and explain your positionings. Please do read out your teams for anyone listening on audio. And once the person has, given us their explanation and their chat about why they've chosen who they are, we can rip them apart. So, Roberto, over to you, mate. This is your draft, I believe.
Yes, it is. So this is recently updated, so you get the exclusive changes right in front of your eyes. It's exciting because their pricing overall, I think, have done a great job because I did want to see if I could squeeze in like Salah and Wirtz and Kudus and, João Pedro and all these players. And it's not as easy as I would like because you do have to make compromises. Defensively, that's where I've made them. But it's still nice that I can have the goalkeeper, the Golden Glove winner of last season alongside these premium players. So, at the moment, I've got Sells in goal, a back 3 of Mikalenko, Udogi and Wan-Bissaka. A midfield of Salah, Kudus, Semenyo, who's a little differential, Palmer and Saka. And then up top, I've got João Pedro and Solanke with a bench of Carl Darlow, Colwill, who's a little defensive backup if I need it, Esteve from Burnley and Krupi from Bournemouth, who I've heard is going to potentially be a good 4.5 forward that might get more minutes than Obi-Wan Kenobi of Man United. Esteve, I think he is pretty decent as well. I've heard good things from him being a 4.0 defender who, although Burnley's fixtures are absolutely honking, he will be sort of helpful because he plays every game. So, he could always give you that 2-pointer off the bench and, maybe some defensive contribution points as well. And also their Darlow is, as things stand, before Leeds make another keeper signing, likely to start over Meslier. So that's a nice option if I need it. But Sells is there just because I think most weeks I will be starting him regardless of a fixture, just because of how good Forest were defensively last season. I do think they will drop off a little bit because of their involvement in Europa League if they stay in the Europa League, what with Palace's impending situation. But I just think he gets a lot of saves, Sells, and for 5.0, I think that's pretty good for a Golden Glove winner. And then Wan-Bissaka's there just because I really do like his attacking output. Semenyo is the one that's sort of interesting that I jiggled things around because I wanted to try and fit in threemium of Salah, Palmer and Saka, and only because of that game week 2 fixture against Leeds, I think having an Arsenal attacker might be tasty. And the fixtures after that, granted, aren't great, but Arsenal are the sort of side that can score against anyone. So it's quite nice to have Saka in there. And Semenyo, the fixtures aren't amazing game week 1, but then after that, it gets quite good for Bournemouth. So I think he's quite a nice sort of budget midfielder that people are sleeping on a little bit.
Okay. All right, Trig, what are your thoughts, positive or negative? I would say we've already had a 3 out of 10 for this in the chat, Roberto, and Adam saying he does not like this draft. But Trig, what are your thoughts on it?
I quite like it. It's quite good. He's got Saka as captain in game week 2. I mean, we can't just think about game week 1 when we make these teams. And Saka captain could be pretty good, couldn't he? Home to Leeds is not in game week 2. So, there's nothing really to complain about there, to be honest.
Udogie Spurs defence?
Udogie's looking pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
He might be playing quite high up.
Whether or not it's Udogie or Van de Ven, because Van de Ven will be good for defensive contributions. The only thing I worry about with Van de Ven is potential rotation, because Romero's there, obviously, and like Danzo could be used at times. I think Udogie's fairly nailed. I mean, they have got Spence as well alongside Porro, so there are options. Don't get me wrong, but I think Udogie is sort of attacking enough that, and he's that bit cheaper than Porro that I don't mind him, and he could get some defensive returns. So it's a cheap way into the defense, maybe.
I quite like it because Colwell can keep a clean sheet against anybody if you need to use him. I mean, he's 5 million now, isn't he? So it's kind of a bit extra on the bench. I don't know if you could have upgraded your striker and put Colwell as a 4.5, but there's probably no strikers at 5 million either, is there?
No.
Do let us know your.
No, I quite like it. I'll give that one at least a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, do let us know your ratings in the chat. You've got a bit of a comeback. You've had an 8 and a 7.5, Roberto. D-Unit, what are your thoughts looking at this one, mate?
I think triple Spurs. I think I don't know what you've been smoking over the summer, Roberto, but
Thomas Frank, mate. He's class.
Thomas Frank is inheriting a team that finished 17th. I don't rate any Spurs player at all except Brennan Johnson, and they look like they've signed Kudus to compete with him, which makes no sense. Other than that, I don't rate any of their players. I think they're above average team at best. They're going to finish, I reckon, 14th this season. Mark my words, Spurs, unless they sign some world-class players, are going to be horrible. Tripling up, I think, is really risky. Other than that, I like the Semenyo pick. Semenyo, I agree. Bournemouth haven't lost any of their attackers. I think they'll be pretty good offensively. And I'd just say your bench probably needs a little bit of sorting out.
Yeah.
Don't know how many points you could rely on.
Let me ask you, lads, this is partly from a selfish perspective, because I've not been watching much content over the last couple of days. Who do you think are the like cheapy ones? Like, I know I've never heard of these that you've got on the bench. Like goalkeeper, it seems to be Darlow. What about defenders? Any?
I mean, there aren't many 4.0s. There's a few. So Esteve being one of them who's likely to start. I mean, Leeds, it's whether you want to go into players like Goodmanson from Leeds. I don't think he's going to be that much of an asset to look out for. There's another goalie that we might potentially look at with Spurs if Frank decides that Kinski's his favourite. He's one to watch out for, but I imagine it will be Vicario. So yeah, there's not too much. I mean, 4.5s. I mean, basically, I've got all the great budget options here, Gary. So you don't need to do too much looking. But there are some 4.5s. I mean, not too many forwards that we're really going to expect to be starting and getting too many minutes. I think that's the thing. Why I've gone for as many 4.5 defenders alongside Mikolenko as I have is just because I think there is a good number of 4.5s, whereas the 4.0s, outside of a couple of options, are maybe a little bit more limited.
Yeah. So my only thoughts on this would be the same as the units. I know Thomas Frank has gone there, but we've seen lots of times that really solid managers at middle table clubs. Think of Potter going to Chelsea or Espirito Santo going from Wolves to Spurs, and then they get to the big club and it doesn't go well for them. I think we're putting a lot of faith on Spurs based purely on the manager. And, if they...
I just think, to be honest, as much as I agree with your point, but as much as it's a problem about new manager, will they gel? I think getting rid of Ange Postecoglou was the best thing Spurs could have done. Because
I don't disagree with that.
I'm not being funny. He ruined that team to the point where they were just unrecognizable and they were relegation fodder. So now I just think things can only get better. And, if it gets worse, I'd be very surprised. And
they're relegated.
Well, I'd love to see it, but I don't see it happening. But the thing is that that Burnley game, Burnley are going to struggle this season. I think it's evident. That's
the reason everyone's got free, isn't it? I guess.
I mean, the Spurs fixtures long term though, even beyond Burnley. I mean, Man City can see goals. Bournemouth is not terrible for attackers, and then after that, it's quite a nice run for Spurs. So I think it is more than just the first game, but especially that first game. I think if you said what's one game that you think is going to produce a few double-digit hauls, I think that Spurs game. If Burnley are caught off on a bad day, then that could be quite fruitful. And Kudus and Solanke, I just think could have really good seasons.
I'm not sure.
Are you scared, Roberto, that it could be a 1-0 Burnley win?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
3 days after the PSG match, that's the problem.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is PSG will play so well that Spurs will be like, right, if we actually want to not get our manager sacked here, we actually have to put in a performance. And they're still going to be on the high, I think, from their Europa League triumph, because those Spurs fans will milk it as long as they can. And so, the players will just kind of carry that wave forward, I think. I do genuinely think that against the weaker side, Spurs could do well. It's where they fare against the teams like Arsenal and City that will be interesting. But yeah, for the Burnley game, I think that is a comfortable home win and probably a clean sheet.
We've got a couple more ratings. Someone said, I can't remember who it was now, that a couple of changes and it could be a 9 out of 10. Or an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. What's 50 divided by 6, guys? Any ideas? Anyone good at maths?
It's about 9, I think.
Yeah, 9.
8.35.
Okay, so that means your ranking, Roberto, is, what do we say? 8.5.
Rounded down to 8.
8, all right, 8.
0.5 is rounded up. Come on, everyone knows that.
No, we're rounding. If me and Dean have got to put our ranks down, then you got to put your bloody score down as well. Dean, I can't remember if I asked if you had any comments on Roberto's one before we move on to yours, man.
No, we did. I just think that Roberto could be in for a world of pain when Burnley roll up after Spurs have been spanked 5-0 by PSG, and then Burnley do them 1-0 on the opening weekend. You can almost read about it now. Like Spurs were that bad last season. It's the kind of result I'm actually half expecting.
Okay,
I think you're over egging Burnley there. I mean, Premier League, I think they'll struggle.
No, they're not bad. They'll be putting in such an effort, Burnley, for their first game back. It's not going to be easy for Tottenham.
We need Steve on one of these to talk about Burnley, don't we?
Best defensive record in the Championship, Burnley.
If Burnley lose Trafford, though, they are in big trouble.
Okay, just say.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Just say, there's 63 people watching a minute. Please do drop a like on the video to help get it out there. So, Dean, this is your draft, I do believe, mate. So do you want to read it out for the listeners and then just talk us through your decisions?
So yeah, this is interesting. Now, for people that didn't know, I'm not actually bench boosting game week 1. However, when I look at this draft now, you could actually.
That's what I thought.
Theory,
I thought you were. When I saw it, I thought you were bench boosting. That's what I thought you were planning.
Nah, definitely no bench boost. I would just created a strong squad. I always like having a good bench that can rotate. It's just good. You don't have to rely if one of your players is out injured or gets pep rouletted or whatever. All of a sudden, your bench is not Obi Martin coming on for 1 point. So it's good in that sense. So
would you read us through it, mate?
Yep. So I've got Kinski and Kelleher. Now, I know I've just absolutely slaughtered Spurs on stream.
Yeah,
but the idea, and the only reason why Kinski would be Darlow if it wasn't for the fact that we think that Thomas Frank potentially likes Kinski, and I think I prefer a Spurs keeper just to a Leeds keeper at 4 mil. Now, that will probably change, and that's what. I mean, any Spurs player is a danger to still be in my team by game week 1. I'll go on record as saying that. In the defense, we've gone with Wan-Bissaka, who I think I'll be surprised if he's not in almost 50% of teams by the deadline. 4.5 mil for what he offers going forward. And I think his defensive contributions, Trig might be able to back me up on this a bit later, but I'm pretty confident he gets maybe 1 in 3 games. He gets to the 10, so that's pretty good for a 4.5. Munoz is in there, but he could easily come out because Crystal Palace's opening run of fixtures for defenders isn't that good. And it's why I haven't got a Liverpool defender. It's also why I haven't got an Arsenal defender because their fixtures are no good to start with, so why bother starting with them? Kukurea obviously is in there, my boy. He is, I don't like playing up for defenders, but it's 6 million. 15 points, you can guarantee he's going to get at least 5 of them this season. For that reason, he has to be in there, and I think he's going to be brilliant. Chelsea's underlying defensive data is fantastic as well. Then I'm going without Salah and Haaland because that means you can spread the money around so much more. And as I said, Salah has got to the 33-year-old point, and he is not Ronaldo. He's got the AFCON to worry about. He's got the World Cup to worry about. He is on track for the biggest decline in fantasy history this season. I'm calling it right now. He's going to get to the top of the hill and he's going to go over the wrong side and he's going to go into no points. And everyone's going to be selling him and he's going to be like 13.5 within a couple of weeks. So instead, because I was a little bit risky about taking on the Liverpool team, but now that I think about it, maybe Wirtz could become Oscar Marmouche instead of Wirtz in there. And then I just roll the pep roulette and hope that one of Foden and Marmouche start every week, which is probably more likely. I've also got Phil Foden in there because the card was hot on him last season and we had him for that magical 5 weeks. And I think that Phil Foden is massively underpriced. If he gets back in that starting lineup, gets back to the form of 2 seasons ago, every man and his dog is going to be bringing him in until he gets benched by Pep, obviously. And then we've got Saka, who I think he's still pretty good value. I think he's going to end up giving away penalties to Gyökeres, but I don't think that's really going to bother him because I can only recall Saka actually scoring 1 penalty last season, so it's not like he's going to be losing lots of points. But I think with a better striker, he should end up with more assists, theoretically. And then in the forward line, we've got João Pedro, who I said João Pedro and Solanke will probably change to Gyökeres depending on price. If he's 8.5, will be brilliant because one will become Strand Larsen, one will become Gyökeres and Bowen stays. And I'm hot on Bowen. I actually think Trig and Roberto were talking about the fact that the bonus points is actually going to go down for Bowen. It's not because none of his goals last season the goals for midfielders and forwards haven't changed except for penalties. Now, Bowen didn't score any penalties last season, so his actual bonus points are going to go up because of the fact that you get 18 points for a goal from midfield, you get 24 as a forward. So if Jared Bowen scores, he's almost 100% likely to actually get a bonus point this season, whereas last season he continually got stitched up by not getting bonus points because he got less as a midfielder and he didn't do much else. So I've got Bowen as like the classic Chris Wood type forward. And I think the run for fixtures for West Ham to begin the season is pretty damn good. Like if you look at it in theory, their first 6 weeks, ideally, I think he'll be up there in the top 3 forwards the first 6 weeks. I've got no doubt with that run of fixtures for West Ham. He's going to blow Solanke and João Pedro out of the water, I reckon. Plus, you got to remember he's the talisman of West Ham. And on the bench, what have we got? We've got Kelleher, Collins, Consart, and Minte. Minte, I think, will be really good in his second season at Brighton. And he's a bargain, $6 million. I mean, if you're shopping in that area of players, he's just a no-brainer, I think. Konza at 4.5, he could be someone else. Collins again at 5, he could become someone else as well. But Collins has got really good defensive contributions. And everyone's talking about Brentford having a massive drop-off. They've lost no defenders. And I would argue that Kelleher is an upgrade on Flecken. For that reason, I think that their defence actually should be pretty good. Brian Mbeumo's not a defender, believe it or not, and neither is Wissa. They might struggle for goals, but they're not going to struggle defensively, considering it's the same coach that was already on the panel last season. So, strong bench. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest with you. I've asked the Card's opinion. The Card liked it, so said it probably needs a few tweaks.
Nikolai's giving you a 10 out of 10. He says no Salah is 10 for me. So I'm going to come straight at you with this one, mate. Me and Dean have streamed quite a few times before starting the podcast. Is Foden in there just because you had such good luck with him last season? Because what is that? What logic is that based on after last season?
So I sat there and I was like, I always thought at the start of the season when they dropped the game, I was like, I wonder what Phil Foden's price point is. Because if he's 9 and above, no interest. But when he came in at 8, and I was like at the Club World Cup, we saw a glimpse of the Phil Foden from 2 seasons ago. Every time he was on the field, he either scored or assisted during the Club World Cup. The periods of the game that he was on, he returned. Now, if Pep can sit there and get over him, then I reckon Phil Foden is going to be one of the best underpriced midfielders in the game. The dude we know the dude's got a ceiling. He can put up Salah and Palmer numbers on his day.
He can.
I think that more people are going to get on board.
He can, but I think it's a bit risky starting with him. I mean, Trig, what do you think on Foden? And what's your general thoughts on this draft, mate? Do give us your rankings, by the way, in the chat. Roberto's giving it 0.
He did look good in the Club World Cup, Foden. He did look good. He was one of their better players. What else have we got here? No, the rest of it looks pretty good. The keepers, though, Kinski's not going to play, is he, really? But I guess you've got Kelleher, so it doesn't really matter, does it? So, I quite like it, actually. It's not too bad at all. It's almost like a bench boost team. If you could find a way of getting a different keeper for Kinski, but you've probably got no money. Maybe you could take Minte to a 5.5, get another playing keeper, and play a bench boost.
I can tell you've got out of the right side of the bed today, Nick. You're very positive.
I've just been for a run, that's why.
That's
4 a.m. run did the trick.
Adrenaline.
It's all downhill from here.
Roberto, mate, you've given this 0 out of 10 in the chat. Let's expand for us.
Yeah,
Not enough Spurs players.
It's pretty evident. It's pretty evident why this draft is 0 out of 10 because there's no Mohamed Salah. Any draft without Salah is 0. I'm sorry, but he's just the best FPL asset of all time and will be the best FPL pick this season. No, goalkeepers though. I think Kinski, like you said, I don't think will start. And then with regards to, Munoz's fixtures, I'm not that much of a fan of. I think Foden has to go. I just think that's just a transfer waiting to happen. And then the thing about Bowen is we've mentioned it earlier. Like, yes, the Sunderland game is good. I really hope you don't captain him. But yes, the Sunderland game is good. But then outside of that, I just think you're just going to be looking for players like, if you do go for Strand Larsen, I think you'll just want Pedro back. And if you do go for other strikers, I just think you'll want Pedro back. So I know you've got Pedro in at the moment, but I think a front two this season is the way to go. I think, midfield is usually where the points lie. And I'm not too much of a fan of a 3-4-3. I think either 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2 for me. Because then you can pick your solid 4 defenders because there are a lot of great defensive picks this season. And I do think, you've got Collins, and I'm not a massive fan of that just because I think Brentford will struggle a bit more without Thomas Frank and without the goals. I think they are going to have to focus on the defence a lot more. So I think in games they will be a bit more under the cosh, and maybe, Kelleher's a good keeper, don't get me wrong, but whether or not Collins can get the same number of defensive contributions and attacking returns, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's got some nice bits. But yeah, I just think without Salah and without with Foden in there, it's not for me personally.
I'm just figuring out your score. You were on 7.5, Darius, and then Combs has rated you 0, which brings you down to 6. So you're even going to be behind my team. Cool. All right.
It's all right. We all know who had the highest rank last season.
I don't think Bowen's going to get more bonus points either because, okay, he's not going to get any less, but the defenders are all going to get more. So they're going to overtake him possibly in defences, unless they're winning 3-0 or whatever.
West Ham going to concede, but...
Yeah, that's true, I guess, too.
One's got Wan-Bissaka.
But then you've got Wan-Bissaka who's going to be 50% owned. So
attacking returns. He was really good attacking-wise last
season.
We
only own defenders. We only own defenders for the attacking returns. Forget this defensive contributions.
Right, Kieran.
Anyway, let's get on to the best team.
Kieran's given you a 7.67, so I'm going to put you up to 6.5. So you equal me and the template graph. But Roberto,
you didn't ask for my vote yet.
Trig, better be a 10.
I did, mate. I did. We're not voting. This is for the audience, Trig. We're just giving our opinions.
I was going to give him a 10.
Right, so let's get on to apparently the best team. Trig, do you want to talk us through your team, mate? Make sure you read out the names, mate. Yeah, and then just give us your reasoning and your thoughts.
Kelleher in goal, Van der Ven, Wan-Bissaka, De Kuyper, Dorgu and Konsa in defence, Soucek, Palmer, Salah and Wirtz, Pedro Watkins, Solanke and Andre my fifth midfielder.
Watkins, interesting.
Haven't seen many Watkins.
No, I was surprised. I was surprised. He was before the game launched. A lot of people. I was thinking about him, but is he 9?
9 million, I think. Yeah. He might become Gorkiez, to be fair, if he signs up.
Cool. Anyway, sorry, Craig, I cut you off, mate. But you were saying for your team.
Right. So Kelleher, I think they've hired from within, haven't they, Brentford? So they're probably not going to change their strategy, which will mean Kelleher will be getting lots of save points, probably. So Van der Ven, mixture of defensive contributions, Tottenham improving, and looks decent. Wan-Bissaka, again, 4.5. De Kuyper, very attacking by all accounts, but in a weak league, so we don't really know. And he's being hyped up by ours, isn't he? So,
what could possibly go wrong?
A lot. But I did read a few articles saying he's very like Trent in his style. So it looks like he's going to be nailed on. I think his Stupinjan's left now as well. So he looks pretty good. My other defenders, Dorgu, Man United. I know they've finished 18th and they're rubbish, but and possibly getting relegated. But he looks pretty good player when they get some decent fixtures. And Konsa, I'm not sure about Konsa because his defensive stats are pretty bad. He would have only got, I think, one extra 2 points for the entire season last season. But I have got lots of options in 4.5s. There's a lot of them. And this, by the way, isn't really my team because I don't have a team yet. I've still got 83 players.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I'm the same.
And I just cobbled these together. So
your draft's popular in the chat. I heard Elite FPL's Patreon today, and Ray and Steve-O were talking. And Ray was really bigging up Dorgu, saying they reckon he's basically going to be like a left wing back nailed on. That's what he seemed to reckon anyway.
And
sorry, guys, I want to bring in D Unit as the Man United fan because I see he's shaking his head.
I don't think he's going to be the starting left wing back. I think he'll be Diego Leon. I watched the game against Leeds, and I'm telling you, Diego Leon looked a lot better than Dorgu did.
You mean you watched Man United's first pre-season match where they put their new player on for 45 minutes, and on the basis of that, you're saying Dorgu's not going to be the starting left back?
I think that Dorgu got a good run for 6 months, and they've sent Harry and Mass on loan, which means that Diego Leon is staying. And if he's staying, I'd suggest it's probably because he's better. It'll be interesting to see. He started I would argue, the stronger starting 11 at the start of the game. He started with Bruno, he started with Cunha and all the other players. Dorgu came on with the likes of Rasmus Højlund, who we expect to be sold, Mason Mount, who's always injured. He literally came on with the second string. I think that probably says early doors that Diego Leon's in front of him.
Well, luckily, we've got another 3 weeks to find out, I guess, haven't we? So we'll wait and see anyway. But my other players, I've got Andre Santos in there. There's very, very few 4.5s, I think. I don't know if anyone knows of any midfielders 4.5 that are nailed on.
The one that
I haven't.
When I looked, the highest owned one, I can't remember his name, but I think it was one of the Burnley midfielders. There was a 4.5 who was on like 15%. I'll have a look.
Yeah.
But Andre Santos, he played in the semi-final at the World Club Champs because Casado was injured. Very good Brazilian player, and he's quality, this guy. And with Lavia always injured, and Fernandez is possibly leaving. I heard a few rumours he might be off.
You're doing very well.
And I think he's going to get a lot of game time because they're going to ease players back in, I think, after the Club World Cup. Even Parma's not safe because they're signing somebody now for Parma's position. And they're going to ease them back in, I think, because they've hardly had any holiday. They've only just gone on their holiday. They're not going to have any pre-season. And the likes of Andre Santos, he's going to get game time, I think. So I'm prepared to risk him at the moment. And the big differential is Souček, who
I love that.
is top among fielders for clearances.
I like
recoveries. He's not too bad at recoveries. And he's one of the few midfielders that are decent in defensive contributions. Actually is quite attacking at the same time. I mean, he gets goals. I think he might have got 9 attacking returns last year or whatever, but he's not bad. I think he's about 30 years old now. He's getting on a bit, but might be 31 or 32. But he's a pretty good, solid player, and they got Sunderland first up.
Yep.
Great. So, your draft's getting a lot of. I think you're ahead at the moment. Do let us know your ratings in the chat. Niall's giving you an 8. So, Dean, I'll come to you first, mate. What? Any thoughts on this?
I love the Souček pick. I actually thought about him instead of Minte, but I was concerned that I was starting the season with 3 West Ham by doing that, which is why he didn't make it and Minte made it instead.
He's been around now for quite a while, Souček. And I remember Go from FF Scout loved him in his first season when he came in. I think.
When West Ham win, he normally scores. So that's really good for bonus as well. So it's just something to monitor. And the defensive contributions, I think he'd rack up. He'd go close to 12 at every other game, I'd say, or close to that. Just without looking at numbers, I'd say he'd probably be pretty close to that.
I think you're overestimating the defensive contributions a bit. I think you said Wan-Bissaka was going to get 1 every 3 games, but it's more like 1 every 5 games. I think last season he would have got 6 defensive contributions, Wan-Bissaka, so he'd have got an extra 12 points. Yeah. And Souček probably about 4 or 5 as well. Okay. Yeah, I think we're getting a bit carried away with defensive contributions, apart from Tarkowski and Caicedo. But, it is going to make a bit of difference, I think.
Yeah, he's 6.0, isn't he, Souček?
Yeah, 6.0. There's a lot of good options. I watched a podcast yesterday. I can't remember what it's called now. Above Average, I think. And they were talking up Anderson from Forest.
Yeah.
Was it Anderson from Forest?
So he's got good
Elliot Anderson. Yeah.
Good defensive numbers. Good defensive point numbers, potentially, yeah.
Yeah, he sounded quite good as well. So I've put him on the watch list.
I don't know if it's just me. I mean, maybe I'm just a sucker for thrill, but I just can't get excited by these like defensive mids, like Elliot Anderson. Like I know that we're going to get points for them for defensive contributions, but if I'm watching a game, I'm not watching to get some defensive contributions. So I'm just going to pick the attacking player. Like I can't be bothered with that.
Was that a tackle?
I think it's quite appealing, those sort of players, because their contributions are more predictable. And I think the once FPL Review and that Solio and all those get going, the models, I think they're going to be quite highly. Everyone's got different teams at the moment. Wait till the models come out, and Andy and all of them have all got the same team all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to change the way people start picking players. Those sort of players are going to turn up in those model teams.
But the thing is, like, by the time the player gets to 11 contributions, I'm just going to have fallen asleep by then, so I won't know if my player's got 12. So, I just don't really care.
I need 2 toes to count the midfielders as well.
Sorry, I'm going to ask something in the chat here, and I'll let you guys continue. Kieran, what is this thing with fizzy water you keep going on about FPL discomfort there? Sorry, lads, continue with your thing. I've seen Kieran keep posting this, but I don't know what he's talking about. Roberto, you like this draft then? I mean...
You know what? I have to say, you have absolutely aced this, Nick. I think this is exactly what you should do in terms of a bit of spice, a bit of differential thinking mixed with solid picks. Like players like Van de Ven, Wan-Bissaka, Salah, Palmer, Pedro, Solanke, all players I think you should have. And then Souček, Wirtz. I mean, yeah, I really like the De Kalper pick. The thing with De Kalper is, like, I do rate his attacking threat. I just don't rate Brighton's clean sheet odds. So
yeah, they're horrible.
It's pretty tricky. But I think Watkins is nice. I was trying to fit in the Villa attacker and I just couldn't do it in the end. But yeah, I think Watkins is lovely. I'm not too keen on your bench though. I'll be honest. I don't really rate Dorgu, and I don't know enough about Andre Santos to think he's worth it. And like Konza as well. Like I flirted with Konza a few times in my draft, but every time I'm just like, Villa defense are just, as good as their fixtures might look, they just don't keep clean sheets. So
I've got 3 other 4.5s that I can replace Konza with, and also one of the 4s. Once we determine which the best 4 million player is, I can turn Konza into one of those. The keepers were all right. I think Petrovic will go well for Bournemouth.
Yeah, keepers are good.
I like Petrovic. I think I like Petrovic a bit more than Kelleher, just because I think Bournemouth are, even without Howson, I think they're a pretty solid defence. Whereas I do worry for Brentford just because of all the change that's going on there. I just don't know how Kelleher's going to do. He's a great keeper, but I just worry that they might be in a bit of a relegation battle this season, Brentford. Whereas Bournemouth, I expect to keep doing well because they've kept a lot of their good attackers.
There's a 4.5 Bournemouth defender I've got my eye on who he scored a couple of goals in pre-season already.
Who's that?
Has come in. I can't remember his name. I'll let you know. I'll let you know in about 1 minute. I'll just go on and have a look.
It would be really fun if we kept it secret, and then in Game Week 1's preview, we just saw Nick on the last second.
Who's that?
The team. Just like everyone's surprised.
I'm just logging on to the website now.
Trig, while you're doing that, I'm going to announce that Trig is now ahead of Roberto. I've figured out your score is 8.5, mate. So you are now in the lead.
Pretty good.
Truffert.
Ah, yeah, Truffert. He's the guy that replaced Kirkes. He's the guy that replaced Kirkes.
Okay. Truffert. Is he the replacement? Is he the replacement for Kirkes?
A Bournemouth.
Yeah,
so. Yeah. I looked at his numbers actually. He's quite a decent attacking numbers.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of putting him in instead of Konsa because I'm only benching Konsa anyway, so I just bench him as well. And then Bournemouth's fixtures aren't that bad, are they? So.
Are you concerned, Trig, that Van de Ven will do a hamstring?
The same way that Kirkes was. So,
right, lads.
It could be quite interesting.
Lads, I'm going to move on to our next draft. So you're in the lead now, Trig, unless this last draft gets a higher rating. So this is FPL Nightmares draft. He just streamed literally before we came on. He's another one of our regular guests. Unfortunately, couldn't be on tonight. But he kindly sent me his draft. Please go, once we finish, please go and do check out his excellent stream that he did earlier on. So I'll go through his draft and I'll read it out, and then you three can rip him apart.
With gladness.
Okay, so he's got Stells in goal, and Darlow on his bench in goal, and then De Croupier. Is it how do I say that name? De Kuiper, Esteve, Cucurella, Mikalenkovic, and Wan-Bissaka. Rodgers, Palmer, Marmoush, Saka, and Wirtz. and then Solanke, Bowen, and Strand Larson up front. So, who shall I come to first on this? D-Unit.
Oh, mate, I will 100% say this draft's better than mine.
You reckon?
It's better than mine. It's got some
I
of my
think it
favourites
is.
in it.
It's another
It's
no
got
Salah, isn't
Kukurea.
it? Yeah, it's another no Salah as well.
It's got Milinkovic. I mean, the only thing I'd probably change is I'd probably ditch Marmoush for Foden, and I'd probably then upgrade Esteve to a 4.5 defender like someone. Other than that, I wouldn't touch it. That's all I've got to say. All right, nightmare. Except the Solanke. Solanke probably will still need to be kicked off prior to game week 1.
I think Nightmare slipped his listeners a fiver before the stream in his last stream. He's got 2 10 out of 10s already. Trig, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know if I like Strand Larson, but I guess he was okay, wasn't he, last season? For the price, he might be okay.
I Big Andy say he reckons he'll be on penalties.
Yeah, he could be.
Wolves didn't get any penalties last year.
No, but they're random, aren't they? They could do this year.
And the defence looks very good. Mikulenkovic is a very good pick, I think.
Yeah, did well last year, didn't he?
Cucurella, obviously.
Best defender in the game.
I don't know anything about. I mean, is he starting Esteve away at Tottenham in game week 1? I guess he's not, is he? Who would he? He'd be benching him, wouldn't he?
He'd be benching him. I mean, this is the thing about this draft is it leads to. I mean, I'd hope it's a bench boost because it leads to benching headaches. Like it's
massive benching headache.
Yeah.
There's only Esteve you'd want on your bench in this first game, really.
No, you'd bench Strand Larson.
Yeah, I guess so. Strand Larson, and who else would you bench?
Then you bench Esteve and Decupia. You'd start.
I think you bench boost this team.
Andrew, you can't vote on your own draft. He's trying to give himself a 10 out of 10.
Ask him if this is a bench boost team.
Oh yeah, is this a bench boost team, Andrew?
I would be very tempted to bench.
Oh wow, it looks like it's not a bench boost team.
I'd bench boost that.
What are your thoughts on it, man?
I think I like elements of it. Like the goalkeepers are absolutely perfect. Those are the 2 best keepers, I think. And the front 3, I like Solanke. Don't mind Bowen. Strand Larson's not for me though. I think he'll struggle a bit more this season. I do think Wolves in general will struggle with the 2 of their best players gone. Then midfielder, I actually really like that midfield, although there's one glaring omission, which is Salah.
Yeah, who's he going to captain?
Yeah, this is the thing. There's no standout captain.
Bowen, game week 1.
Yeah, I've got Bowen captain game week 1.
Yeah,
I'd be more tempted. I'd be more tempted to captain in this team Wirtz than I would Bowen.
Really?
Yeah, because if Salah goes off, at least you might be able to cover it in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure about
Bowen's playing 90 minutes though.
Yeah, he's not got back to us about the bench boost.
Sunderland would be a hard place to go to, I reckon, first game of the season.
Yeah, it's not a bench boost team, guys. It's not a bench, which I think is going to lead to problems.
Okay.
I think you've got to bench boost this. If you don't, it's a wasted team.
Oh yeah, he's
on the bench.
He's put his bench in the chat. Yeah, he's put his bench in the chat. Yeah, it's not a bench boost.
In that case, I'll give it a 6 out of 10 if it's not a bench boost.
It's for the viewers to rate. It's for the viewers to rate, not for us to rate. There's not for us to rate.
He's got so much wasted money on the bench.
Right, talk for a minute, guys, because I'm going to figure out Nightmare's rating on his draft. I reckon he did get a free from someone, which I think might bring him down.
Yeah, no, I don't like it now. I've gone off it. I mean, no Salah.
Didn't take you long, Nick.
All rounders on it. Once Gyökeres comes in, all the drafts will change.
I think if you don't have Salah, you've got to have a really killer team to compensate for it. And I don't see that as being a killer team.
Danish is saying more about Chris Wood. What do you think, guys? We've not seen Chris Wood in any of our drafts. Do you reckon he's over too much? What is he now? 7.5, is he?
Yeah, they've got competition now as well.
They brought in Jesus.
I think
and
the best 3. The best 3 7.5s are Solanke, Pedro, and Wood, I think.
The bonus points are going to kill Wood this season.
Do you think, though? Because I still think he's got such good fixtures, Nick, that I think he could still tick along.
Yeah, but one goal was 9 points last season. This season it'll be 6 points. And he did
How about
tail off
Jesus?
quite a bit.
You know, I do enjoy Chris Wood the most when people doubt him. So I love it.
He had no previous history before last season. He just had like a worldy season.
No, he had a pretty good end to the season before.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair.
Exactly. I agree with the unit here.
He's hit the hill. He's about to do a Suller and he's hit the top
I'll tell
of
you
the
what,
hill.
that
Going to go down.
That Eagle Jesus, I was very, very impressed with him in the Club
Yeah, he was
World Cup.
good.
I watched
Very
every
good.
single match in the Club World Cup, all of them, not the highlights. I watched every single entire match, and I was really impressed with him. He's a very good hold-up, old-fashioned centre forward, and he's going to be very well suited to the style of play that Forest employ, and I can see him doing really well. It's a pity Chris Wood's there, because if Chris Wood wasn't there, I'd actually consider putting Igor into my team rather than someone like Strand Larsen. But
right, lads,
they're kind of killing each other at the moment, aren't they?
I'm closing. I've closed off the ratings, so please withhold your votes in the chat. So I'm going to announce the draft winner. By the way, I think for the last 10, 20 minutes over long I want to go, we'll take questions. So if anyone's got questions in the chat, please stick them in and we'll do our best to answer them. So in joint third place with 6.5, or joint last, is me and D Unit. Second place out on his own with 8 is Roberto. I'm sorry. No, sorry. I've got. Yeah, no, I'm right. And then the joint winners are Trig and FPL Nightmare, who both got 8.5. Although, if I'm to be fair, the actual number was highest from Nightmare. So Nightmare just squeaks you out if we are actually going to go with that metric, Trig. How are you feeling?
I've got a lower ID than Nightmare, so I win.
Yeah, you're the real winner, Nick.
What ID did you all get? I was every year it happens. I wait for the game to come out, and then I go to the toilet, and then the game comes out when I go to the toilet, and then I come upstairs and I think mine's like 12,000. What's yours, Roberto?
Mine is 24460. So it's quite nice because it's like 246. Quite happy with it.
That's nice. Let us know what yours are in the chat. Do you need to get a nice low one?
I got a big fat 6-digit figure one.
Really?
376,670. But the card though got a very good ID rank. I think it got a 4-figure one.
What was he up in the middle of the night refreshing?
Card's already off to a winner. Card's already off to a winner.
So lads, one thought that did occur to me, and I know we've touched on it anyway. How do you check your ID? Is it what page do you go to, lads, on FPL?
The main
Transfer
page.
history.
If you go down to transfer history.
Transfer history.
So on the my team, it's try transfer history. Yeah.
Players 34,000, Cone 24, Daniel 1606. Very good, mate. Yeah, I did notice
because
going through our drafts, there wasn't really. I mean, it was taken into consideration a little bit in our picking our defenders, but we didn't really have any midfielders in there that are in there solely for defensive contribution points. Do you think that's just because
I did? Well, no,
it's just because it's irrelevant. It's just irrelevant.
Well, do you think it is that, Roberto, or do you think I'll come to all three of you, or do you think it's just we're not used to factoring it in yet in picking our drafts?
I mean, if it was worth more than 2 points, then we'd factor it in, but it's not.
Maybe.
So 2 points is just not enough for it to make a big difference.
3 points would have been, but then again, they would have just put the prices up even more, wouldn't they?
Mm.
That was the main problem. They put the prices up too high for them. I mean, what's the point of giving them and then putting up a price by $1 million for like Tarkovsky or whatever?
If you put the price lower, then we'd actually consider choosing them over the more attacking players. But because they put them higher, I agree, Nick. It puts us off.
I heard.
You haven't with everybody though, which is why those 4.5 defenders could be pretty good, because some of them might be good for defensive points. We just don't know which ones yet, do we?
Yeah.
So,
No.
They could emerge.
Nightmare saying he got 316 is his team score. All right, it doesn't look like we've got any questions. Is there anything you guys? I think we want to maybe keep this one quite short. It's our first one of the season. Is there anything you guys want to discuss before we finish up? Unless we've got any questions in the chat. So many people watching. Do please drop a like.
What do we think about game week 1 bench boost? Because I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Because I think even if you put together a team like Nightmares that is really strong as a 15, like you just don't know who's going to start for any team. So like I just think it's a disaster waiting to happen. Personally,
you kind of do know though.
Let Darius give his point, Trig, and then we'll come to you.
I'd agree. I think any good bench boost draft in game week 1 probably means you need a wild card game week 2.
Yeah,
because like the only teams with good fixtures have horrible fixtures. Like Spurs have Burnley, and then they walk into Man City. I wouldn't want 3 Tottenham players in game week 2. Then you've got Liverpool, nice fixture at Bournemouth, but then they go to Newcastle away, and then Arsenal at home. Again, not great fixtures for their attackers. You wouldn't think. I don't know. There's like it's the start of the season. The way the fixtures have landed, it's actually really hard to pick a team that's well-rounded for the first 3 weeks, really.
Yep.
Yeah, Trig, what were you going to say, mate? Sorry.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
No.
Because whenever you play the bench boost is difficult. I hate the bench boost. Even when we play it in double game weeks, you end up having to take extra transfers to try and make it. And even last year, I had Wan-Bissaka missed for 1 game when I played my bench boost. And I think I got 4 points on my bench boost. And so playing at any time's annoying. Like if you play it after we get the 5 extra transfers, which you can do, you'll end up using up 2 or 3 of those transfers to try and get a perfect bench boost rather than just keep the 5 transfers. So whenever you play it, you're going to have to you're going to have players suspended or whatever during the season or injured. And if you want to play a bench boost, you're going to have to use transfers. But at least if you do it in game week 1, you can take a pretty good stab of who's going to start.
But it's weird. It's me, you, and Roberto discussed on Saturday night. We've got the 5 free AFCON transfers. We've got your first wild card. I think we have much more knowledge of who is or isn't going to be playing then than we do in game week 1. So I think the logic behind the game week 1 bench boost is fraud, personally.
Well, you've also got European competitions and that on by that stage, so you've got rotation from and you're saying yes, you can play your wild card to get a good team for a bench boost, but then you're stuck with those bench boost players again, just like you are if you play it in game week 1. So
you say that, Nick, but if you let's say you wild carded game week 14 and then game week 15 you use up your 1 free transfer, if you don't like your wild card, or let's say you bench boosted game week 15, if you don't like your wild card and bench boost team, you're going to basically have a mini wild card game week 16 anyway with the 5 free
exactly
transfers.
So you're falling into my point, whereas you're going to use your 5 free transfers to fix your bench boost.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Well, because you're using up transfers that you could have kept. I mean, I'm looking to get those 5 free transfers and keep them all the way up until kind of game week 30 or whatever, when the double game weeks happen. So I don't want to waste those 5 free transfers we get on fixing a bench boost. So if you can play a bench boost in game week 1, I think it's a good idea. I think the only good thing about keeping it to later is you might have more money to spend because you build up a bit of team money value. That's one advantage. But if I can get a bench boost in game week 1, I might well do it. If we find out we've got decent 4 million players, then even a Sunderland player or whatever, take a chance. Because there's no guarantee that West Ham are going to beat Sunderland.
We've got some questions in the chat. So Ricky's asking, I'll answer this one myself, about team ID. It's just, what's the purpose of having a low team ID? It's just, if you use review like I do, you don't have too many numbers to enter in, or it's just a bit like a competition. But this is a question. What do you guys think about Rice and Sarr? So I'll give my opinion first. I think if I was going to bring in a defense, how much is Rice? Is he 6.5?
6.5.
Yeah, I think they're both 6.5.
I think he's decent, and I think so. I mean, Big Andy. Let's
Some
go
might
to
be
Andy. Was
six.
saying. Have a look, Trig. What do you think? We'll go through. I'll come to each of you. What do you think on those two? Man?
I think both of them are great. I think Rice is much more interesting this season because of the defensive contribution points. And I'm not too keen, as much as I love Sarr, I'm not too keen on Palace's fixtures outside of the Sunderland game. I think they are a bit sketchy. So I'd actually like Rice because I think, he's going to be more of a factor for us. And that game week 2 fixture for Rice could be really good, especially if he racks up, a few sort of.
Was he on corners towards the end? He was on corners. And he still.
Yeah.
He was very good. Yeah. Very good the last 10 weeks of the season. And not in Europe as well, wasn't he? That free kick he scored.
In the Champions League, yeah.
He scored 2 in one game. Was it 2 in one game he got?
Yep.
What about Sarr, the unit? What do you reckon to him?
I'm inclined to agree with what Roberto just said. I just think that Palace's opening fixtures, I think Munoz will probably drop out of my team. I think I'll actually start with no Palace in the end, just because of those fixtures. And we saw in fact, we've seen the last 3 seasons, I think, on record, that Palace start exceptionally slowly and then they get going after 10 weeks. The other thing that also have to take into consideration this year, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle have not had to deal with European football and the Premier League. And the last time that Newcastle did, and I know you're not going to like it, Gary, but they dived off a cliff in the league. And I think that Palace and Forest could be exactly the same. I think once European football starts, and for Forest, I think it starts game week 2. They have a midweek tie for the Conference League or whatever, and that midweek, and then the following midweek. I think I can't get excited. That's why I haven't got Milinkovic in my team. I just think that they're going to be too tired and the form's going to drop off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what happens with the whole Forest Palace situation if Forest get Europa League, which they might. But yeah, it's interesting because I think Palace, I agree with you. Like, usually they do kind of start slowly, Darius. But the thing is, Palace are the sort of team that, like, players like Sarr, he's still going to really tick along nicely. He's still good value. So even with tough fixtures, like, he's a big game player, Sarr, and he did it against some tricky teams last season, like Liverpool. So yeah, I don't know. It's not one you should sleep on, Sarr, because in that Sunderland game he could get a big haul, like he's done a lot last season.
So another question.
Yeah, I'd take him over Kudos.
Another question from Jojo. Are we all underestimating in Burma? I've seen a few videos today of players to avoid. I think I don't know if it was Andy or Mate had him as their thumbnail tag player for player to avoid. I reckon. I mean, I'm not going to have him in my game with one team, but I do think it's a little bit harsh.
He got so many penalties, though, didn't he?
So
many of his.
He's very reliant on those.
Penalties.
5 pens last year. 5 pens.
What did he come in as?
8.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
It's not.
Yeah, Price is
they're
fine.
a relegation team, remember? Because D Unit said Tottenham are a relegation team. Because they finished 17th.
The price is not bad.
18th.
The problem is not the price; it's the club. That's the issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
He's playing for a worse side. He's not got penalties anymore. I mean,
yeah.
The one actually,
he doesn't have Visser. He doesn't have Visser for his assists and that anymore. He's got Whelan.
and Bruno and Cunha will want to hog the limelight. They won't want to give it to Mbumo.
No.
Yeah, Mike saying bench boost when Salah's at AFCON, more money to spread. I like that suggestion. Balls around is saying picking Rice will limit your Arsenal players.
True.
Don't you want Saka, Guy Gores, or however you pronounce his bloody name, Gabriel
Gyökeres.
I'm gonna have to get used to that.
Gyökeres, I want Gyökeres.
You got
Arsenal are playing today, aren't
they?
I think Arsenal are playing
Saka
in about 6 hours' time, isn't it?
Saka's already scored.
It's today, yeah.
I'm hoping I can find a stream for that one.
The weirdest one I saw, lads, when I was...
Was it up? What? How much was he?
Who?
Gyökeres up?
Oh, Gyökeres. No, he's not coming in yet.
I haven't added him to the game yet.
The weirdest one I saw when I was going through making my team earlier was Cunha at 8 million in midfield. What? I just don't.
I thought that looked really good as well.
I don't know.
He played a lot. He played a lot on the wing, though, Gary. Like that's why he's been moved in midfield.
Yeah, number 10.
I think people are sleeping on him, to be honest. Not,
I can tell you someone who's massively overpriced.
Who?
Well, if you look at Cunha and you look at Mbuemo, and they're going to be playing Mbuemo will be on the right, the right 10, and Cunha will be on the left 10. Bruno Fernandes coming in at 9 million is an absolute travesty. I know if anyone picks Bruno in their team, I'll be shocked because he's so
defensive contributions as well, though.
Defensive contributions.
He's going to get a yellow card every game playing in that role.
They'll probably get more penalties. This is if they do turn out to be good. They'll probably get more penalties as well.
I'm not sold. I think he's massively overpriced.
I mean, I think when a Man United fan is not sold by their best player, then we know that there's a problem.
They should have sold him for 100 mil to Saudi. That's what they should have done.
I think they should have done too. Had a complete rebuild.
Barry's
He's 31. He's over the hill.
Lads,
he's not, is he?
Barry's asking about Bowen. Is he worse as a striker midfield? We already sort of talked about that earlier. I think we're all...
He's obviously worse.
Okay.
Has to be worse, isn't he?
Lads, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. I think... Go on, Trig, do you want to say something?
No, that's all right.
No. I think
I don't like Marmoush show. I just see Marmoush show.
He's quite popular amongst the content.
Yeah, but the minutes are they've signed so many players, haven't they?
They've literally got like Cherky could play, anyone could play.
And I thought Silver and that would have left by now, but they're still all there as well. And
what do you think of Reindeers? He's got such a low price point.
Again, if he plays, you just don't know, do you?
I think Rangers is much better for a team name rather than to be in your actual FPL team, like Baby Rangers. Like, that's a good FPL team name.
What do people think about Rodri? Because people are picking Rodri now, aren't they? Because of the defensive. But I looked at his previous seasons weren't that great for defensive returns. But
not sure.
6.5, isn't he? But even he's not going to be nailed now, is he?
Yeah, I'm more likely to pick Cherky than Rangers, I think.
Lads, I want to wrap up in a second. 8 people watching it. Please do like. Before we do that, could you just all quickly tell us where we can find your own channels? Darius, do you want to go first, mate?
Yeah, just what it says there, FPLD_unit.
And where can we find the cards channel?
The cards channel is the same channel. It will be by the way, it will be having its own team reveal video once I've figured out how to narrow down the options for it to pick from. I'm waiting for a few more people to be added to the game before we start doing it, though.
Nick?
Trigger Talks FPL on YouTube and lots of content.
You guys got videos coming out pretty much every day at the minute, haven't you?
Yeah, every other day, probably.
Yeah, not every day.
Season continues.
Roberto?
Yeah, so recording actually the first sort of proper episode of the 3rd season.
Excited?
Tonight, so really excited, yeah. It's going to be a great one. It's
going to be a late one, isn't it?
Yeah, we're starting at 9 o'clock, so we're recording at 9 and it'll be out tomorrow morning. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But TFIT_pod on Twitter and on YouTube. Also, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So we've branched out to Apple Podcasts as well.
Excellent. Gary needs the toilet, says David. Yeah, you've read my mind, mate. So I'll just plug a few other things. So we'll be doing this FPL PubCast just like we've done. I hope you've enjoyed it every week. We'll be aiming for Wednesdays at 6. We are going to try and get some big guests on. I'm not going to name any names. We may move it around a little bit depending on people's availability, big names. But if we do...
Gary's housemate.
Sorry?
Gary's housemate.
We will still be live. The FPL lock-in is something me and Trig are doing every Saturday night. Guests may appear on that as well. It's usually going to be a reaction stream during the season. But I think me and Trigger decided this week we are going to answer questions and rate teams, basically, Trig, aren't you? So is
that what we're doing?
That's what we're going to do. Well, we're going to do it for the next couple of weeks till the season starts. So if you want us to rate your team and have a look at it, DM me on Twitter with your team. My DMs are open. And I'll also put out a post on X on Friday probably.
Yeah, and we'll just be discussing any old stuff that's happening in the community, won't we?
Yeah, anything that's
new
happening,
players coming, anything interesting at the time. Probably be talking about the Arsenal striker a bit this week, won't we? Because he might well be in the game by Saturday.
Probably, mate. Yeah, probably.
So,
So this is just, again, the FPL PubCast Mini League. Please do join. Click the link in the description. It will get taken there automatically. Or the league code is S3DHWZ. That's S3DHWZ. And also, again, everything we're doing from this stream, any money we make is going to go to charity. But it's better that rather than putting in a super chat or anything, you donate directly to the charity, as my bladder is shrinking. Mind and Street Card United, links to how you can donate to them are in the video description below. Lads, any last thoughts before we left? How did you think the first one went, lads? Darius?
Fantastic. Great to see so many people in the chat, and keep it coming. That's fantastic. We look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Yeah, thanks everyone for your support. It's really, we've got 80 people watching, which is really good for the first. I was a bit worried. I was going to leave going until next week, wasn't I? Because I thought there's so much content out this week. But it's been great. So thanks to everyone for supporting us.
Great stuff.
Nick?
Yeah, great. And onwards and upwards, I think.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Roberto, any last thoughts, mate, before we end the stream?
I mean, I think we set the bar. We have certainly set the bar. And if this is where FPL Podcast goes this season, then I think everyone else and ourselves are in for a treat. And yeah, it's just good vibes here, people. We're only good vibes. And we like to argue with each other's FPL teams, but that's part of the camaraderie of it. So, no, it's enjoyable. And yeah, really enjoyed tonight. So, be definitely watching this one back.
Yep, so please do like, please do subscribe. Check out channel memberships if you want to support the channel even further. Next week, I think it will be me, Darius, Nick, and FPL Nightmare, because Roberto can't make it next week.